What if I told you that one of the world's busiest and most admired airports is about to go silent at night? Yes, Singapore's Changi Airport, the crown jewel of global air travel, is planning to ban night flights. But why? What's driving this radical shift? Environmental concerns, urban pressure, or something much deeper? Let's uncover the real story behind this monumental decision that's sending shockwaves across the aviation world. Changi Airport isn't just another airport, it's a global benchmark. For 12 consecutive years, it was crowned the best airport in the world. With indoor waterfalls, butterfly gardens, high-speed Wi-Fi, and even a rooftop swimming pool, Changi redefined what an airport could be. It's more than a transit hub. For many, Changi is the beginning of a journey, an oasis between time zones, a place that turns layovers into experiences. Handling over 60 million passengers annually, Changi connects Singapore to more than 400 cities across 6 continents. It's a major artery in the world's economic bloodstream, fueling business, tourism, culture, and diplomacy. Which makes this new development even more shocking. The Civil Aviation Authority of Singapore recently confirmed that plans are underway to enforce a blanket nighttime curfew. Between midnight and 6 a.m., no commercial flights will be allowed to land or take off, not even cargo, not even emergencies, unless critical. In a city that prides itself on connectivity, speed, and precision, this seems counterintuitive. Why would a country so reliant on trade, efficiency, and global movement deliberately limit its own aviation lifeline? To understand the shift, we need to descend to ground level. For years, Singaporean residents living near flight paths, in areas like Pasir Ris, Tampines, Simei, and Bedok, have raised concerns about nighttime disturbances. Low-flying aircraft disrupt sleep. The roar of engines rattles windows. For shift workers, families with children, and the elderly, restful sleep has become a luxury. The Singaporean government, known for its responsiveness and data-driven governance, began investigating the long-term impact of noise exposure. Studies from the World Health Organization and the European Environment Agency indicate that consistent exposure to aircraft noise above 45 decibels during sleep hours is linked to elevated risks of hypertension, heart disease, cognitive impairment in children, and even depression. Singapore's Ministry of Health took these findings seriously. In 2021, a nationwide noise monitoring initiative was launched. Over 80 monitoring stations were installed across residential zones to measure sound levels around the clock. The data was sobering. Nighttime noise levels routinely crossed the 55 decibel threshold in eastern Singapore. For a country that values efficiency and quality of life, this wasn't just a nuisance. It was a public health emergency in slow motion. Moreover, the number of night flights at Changi had increased significantly after the COVID-19 pandemic recovery phase, as airlines scrambled to restore global schedules. The unintended result? More aircraft flying at night, more restlessness for residents, and rising complaints. Public sentiment was shifting. People began to question, is the cost of convenience too high? But noise is only part of the equation. Singapore has always strived to be a pioneer, not just in commerce and infrastructure, but in climate leadership. Globally, aviation accounts for about 2.5% of all carbon emissions, and unlike other sectors, it's one of the hardest to decarbonize. Changi Airport has pledged to reach net zero emissions by 2050. But to get there, drastic steps are necessary. Night flights, ironically, are among the most carbon-intensive. Why? Because during cooler night temperatures, jet engines burn slightly more fuel during takeoff. Airports use more lighting and energy at night, without the compensatory solar power often harnessed during the day. Night operations demand more electricity for runway lighting, navigation systems, heating, and cooling. Without sunlight to offset consumption, the carbon cost rises. International watchdogs like the International Civil Aviation Organization and IATA have urged airports to rethink operations with a climate-first lens. And Singapore, a city with limited land and no natural resources, knows the cost of inaction. By cutting back on night flights, Changi isn't just reducing noise, it's directly lowering its carbon footprint. The move is both symbolic and strategic. It sends a message. Sustainability isn't optional anymore. This might seem like an economic risk, but to seasoned observers of Singapore's aviation strategy, it's actually a calculated masterstroke. Let's consider what night curfews really mean. In the short term, fewer flights mean tighter schedules. Airlines may face rescheduling costs, cargo logistics will need realignment, slot distribution becomes more competitive. But longer term, there's a quiet genius to this. With a 6-hour pause every night, Changi gets room to breathe, literally and figuratively. Runways can undergo maintenance without disrupting operations. Ground staff get regulated rest, improving safety and reducing fatigue-induced errors. Aircraft movements become more efficient during daytime hours. Airlines are nudged toward using quieter, newer, and more fuel-efficient aircraft to secure prime daytime slots. The result: better planning, fewer delays, lower operational costs, and cleaner skies. And let's not forget, Singapore has one of the world's most advanced air traffic control systems. With AI-based routing and predictive analytics, Changi can compress more value into fewer flights. In other words, quality over quantity. Singapore is signaling, we're not trying to be the busiest airport, we're trying to be the best. Changi is not alone in the night flight debate. Frankfurt Airport in Germany has banned night flights between 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. since 2012. London Heathrow has one of the strictest noise control programs in the world. Sydney Airport imposes heavy fines for any aircraft that violates its night curfew. But Changi is doing something different. These other airports made changes because they were forced to. Community lawsuits, public outrage, environmental disasters. They reacted. Singapore is choosing to act before it's pushed. It's planning, not panicking. This proactive decision places Changi in a new league. It positions Singapore as a leader in sustainable aviation, health-first urban policy, and forward-thinking governance. Other airports are watching closely. Hong Kong International Airport has begun its own noise studies. Dubai is evaluating energy audits for night operations. Even Los Angeles International, long criticized for 24/7 operations, is seeing political pressure. Changi's move might be the first domino. So what does all this mean for travelers? If you're used to flying in or out of Changi in the dead of night, expect changes. Fewer red-eye flights. Longer layovers may be replaced by more daytime connectivity. Ticket prices might increase slightly due to peak hour congestion. But on the flip side, you may notice less crowding, more punctual flights, and quieter terminals. Budget airlines, who often operate late-night slots to save costs, may need to rethink their schedules. Some might move operations to nearby airports in Malaysia or Indonesia. Others might invest in newer, quieter aircraft to remain competitive. Travel will still be efficient, but with more intention. You'll start to see flight schedules that prioritize passenger well-being and sustainability. Families may find travel less stressful. Jet lag may become more manageable without overnight transits. And most importantly, the surrounding communities get their nights back. Silence becomes a shared luxury. Airports have always been symbols of speed, ambition, and power. But Changi is teaching us that in aviation, as in life, progress doesn't always mean more. Sometimes it means better. Singapore's night flight ban isn't just about noise or carbon. It's about rethinking what global connectivity should look like in the 21st century. One that respects the planet, one that protects health, one that values peace. The skies over Singapore may fall silent at night, but the world is listening. And in that silence lies a powerful message. Thanks for watching. If you found this deep dive valuable, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Comment below. Should other airports follow Changi's lead? Until next time, fly smarter, not faster.